Alright, YouTube, I am back, and as I said, I'm not gonna lie, here, I have some more info for you on Fable 2. Fable 2 is just some more reading, so again, if you do not want to listen to this, click away from the webpage, because it's just going to be showing this case, the guidebook, on my floor. I do not have my capture card, as I said. Fable 2 will take place some 500 years after the events of the first game. Among the other improvements, it will boast a number of gameplay features that were originally promised in Fable. Molyneux recently received 2 death threats from Fable fans when they realized they couldn't plant an acorn and witness it grow into a mighty oak tree over time. He didn't enjoy the experience, and so they were told their future will definitely be in Fable 2. To further illustrate his vision of a game in which you can influence the world dramatically in dramatic ways throughout simple actions were shown. The concept image in an area called Brightwood. Hint, hint, there's a name of an area. Campsite tucked away in the middle of a forest. First time you encounter the camp, you might think that any decision you make on how you interact is significant, but according to Molyneux, the effect of your seemingly travel actions will be felt better for the decades. You choose to trade with the camp, for example, you might find that it has developed into a small settlement. When you're in the area, again, 10 years later, for another decade, after another decade, that small settlement might grow into a village and ultimately become a thriving town or city if it decided to loot the camp and kill the inhabitants. On the other hand, the land is occupied and would be reclaimed by nature by 10 years. You wouldn't even know it was there. Molyneux calls the technology dynamic regions, and one of several features in the game seems genuinely to talk about. Among the features that didn't realize their full potential in Fable were promised that you would be able to invest in properties and have a family. These somewhat gimmicky features in the original game will not only be fleshed out in the sequel, but also will have the potential to occupy huge chunks of your time, perhaps even becoming an important part of your Fable 2 storyline. Regardless whether you choose to play this as a male or female, you will start out as a street urchin. Here's the starting of the story. With absolutely nothing to lose. Your physical transformation as you become an adult in the game will be determined by a number of factors. In addition, the requisite good/evil mechanic during the cruel/kind deeds, and whether you become richer or poorer. If you manage a accrue significant amount of wealth in the game, you have an option to unlock additional game content by purchasing each building in the world. It includes castles, catacombs, and the like. If you've never had more power than 2 gold pieces to rub together, your appearance, and always the way people will react to you will be very different. A little bit more here. On the subject of the families, Molyneux's goal is to introduce the unconditional love to video games by giving you the ability to have children with whichever character from the world you decide to marry. After meeting a woman or man of your dreams, you can play as a woman. Remember, you can marry them, and then, if you're so inclined, you can opt to have protected or unprotected sex with them. If you choose later, heard nothing to believe, risk from infection, but there's a chance you might become a parent 9 months or later. The offspring's appearance will be determined on your spouse's characteristics and by your own at the time of conception. And regardless of what path you choose to take through the game, that child will love you unconditionally. If you have opted to play as a woman, it'll be you that gets pregnant, of course. But that's a preview topic for another day, so I got a little bit more here. Molyneux says that one of the most magical moments in his career was when he recently saw the Fable 2 family features in action. Returning home from a lengthy quest, Molyneux found that his baby son had grown up in his absence, and as he approached the house, the boy swung the doors open and ran towards him with his arms outstretched. Molyneux also stated that your child's development will determine to somewhat extent of your own actions, almost as if he or she is trying to imitate you and gain approval. So if you play with the evil guy covered in so if you play as the evil guy covered in tattoos, you might find that your son gets himself some ink the first chance he gets. As the breed of winners of your family responsible, sure that they will always have enough money to eat, perform, and regard this part in your child's development. I'm just gonna give another comment. Peter Molyneux also said that, like, if your child is good, like if you are good, your child wants to be good, of course, but what will happen is your child will talk about how he's going to be a hero one day, just like you, and all this stuff. And if you are not good, then your child will talk about how he beat up the bullies, how he beat up some other kid at school, and he bullied him, and all that stuff if you're bad. Trying to impress you, as it said. Although many of these features we talked about as if they were confirmed for Fable 2, we should point out that Molyneux made a disclaimer of sorts at one point when he explained that many of his ideas are still being experimented with. An amusing sample of a feature that won't work, that won't be making the cut, for example, is the idea that you would assume the role of your offspring if you died. The reason is that why this won't be in the game, won't be in the finished game. The testers at Lionhead started procreating like bunnies in the game, because every child was essentially like an extra life. Perhaps the most amusing part of our meeting with Peter Molyneux thought came when he turned his attention to Fable 2's combat. The portion of the meeting was entertaining, not because Molyneux's plans are crazy or anything, but simply because we recognized a lot what was said from his This Is Not Fable 2 keynote address at the Leopardsid Games convention earlier this year. Among the features mentioned, but not demonstrated on this occasion, was concentrated combat that occurs the way that you swing your sword. For example, varies according to the vicinity of your allies, walls, anything else would interfere with your kind of generic motion in Fable. Molyneux ended the meeting by telling us that he's most excited about in Fable 2 is one that he's not willing to talk about yet. The top secret features that apparently are so revolutionary that we won't believe it until we can see it and play it for ourselves. In fact, it is so ambitious that no one at Lionhead development team wanted any part in attempting to make it work when it was first suggested. What feature could this possibly be? I'm 99% certain that we will find the answer at Formosa at Leopardsid Games Convention keynote, which Molyneux details his plans for incredibly realistic combat features, with full notes being played with a single button, bringing you more information on Fable 2 as soon as it becomes available, according if blah blah blah. Okay, anyway, let's just regard this at the end. Yeah, this is the sort of storyline of Fable 2, and that's sort of just a little bit more information about it, and yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much, YouTube, once again. Please subscribe to my videos. Alright, thank you.